Okay, we are at, this is Tom from PCs and EVs, channel link down below. Make sure you go subscribe and watch some of the content on the GV60, his Genesis GV60 approaching 20,000 miles. So perfect time to get some impressions, likes, moans, and where we're at a year on, basically, right?
Yeah. Quite literally just about 20,000 miles on it. I've had some service issues and stuff. I can't really get into that too much now. We had an IONIQ 5 before this, and this honestly is that turned up to 11, at least on the luxury side, and actually a little bit on the performance side. This vehicle has the same big front and rear motor that your vehicle has in the rear. IONIQ 5 has a smaller front motor. So this is more akin to 420-ish horsepower in normal and sport, and then I get 10 seconds of boost if I hit the boost button, at which point it becomes 493 horsepower. One of my biggest favorite things that I don't really notice until I'm not driving this vehicle is the mirror cameras when you turn your turn signal on.
Yep.
Like, it's so nice, and it's something that just is completely back of mind. You don't notice it.
Yep.
But
you've got the Model Y, which has something similar, but it's all over here, right?
Yes. So I have to look over here to interact with it. And so it's really nice having it directly in front of you. Other big thing that I love is the charge curve. When I get working DC fast chargers that charge properly, this thing is a charging monster. I mean, just yesterday I went 4 to 77% in, I think it was 18 minutes, a little over, which is just, it's absurd. Like, you don't need it to be that fast, but for times you're really trying to hammer down, get from stop to stop, especially if, hey, you just ran in and used the restroom, that's about the amount of time that it would take for a stop normally.
Yep.
Big reason why I upgraded. This car, it has a much better sound system than the IONIQ 5. So that was one of my biggest disappointments with the IONIQ 5, was its sound system.
Yep.
I had the Limited, which had a Bose upgraded, I'll say upgraded in air quotes, sound system. It was fine, it was passable. It was pretty similar to that I had in my previous vehicle, which was a RAV4 Prime XSE with the JBL sound system. So nothing too crazy, very much a $40,000-ish car experience sound system.
Yep.
This takes it to the next level, though this does get beat out by the GV70 electrified, which I have also driven. I haven't had any random creaks or rattles or anything like that. This car has actually been pretty well assembled.
That active noise cancelling you mentioned to me, that really seems to hold it down at that 70, 80 highway speeds. It really is quiet.
It makes it so it's very hard to tell from audio how fast you're going.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot quieter of a ride than in our Model Y that we also own. And the auto wipers are just amazing in comparison to Tesla auto wipers. Highway drive assist, pretty great. I like it pretty equally with autopilot from like a Model Y. Basic autopilot, I haven't paid $7,000 for enhanced or $15,000 for full self-drive.
One of the major reasons of switching from the EV6 or the IONIQ 5 would be the interior. So we've got some familiar features. I mean, this is all kind of the same layout, right? But it's taking it up to that premium Genesis piece, right? Yeah,
so I've got a 12-inch diagonal display on each side instead of 10-inch screens, so you definitely notice a bit less bezel.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, the screen's very responsive and everything still. The nav software isn't a highlight of either vehicle.
Yeah. But it's nicer look, it's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, so this is the exact same software on the underside. But like you can still see, this is actually laid out a lot easier to get to than it is in IONIQ 5. I just click on the car, I don't have to click on this and then find the settings, which you would in IONIQ 5. It'd drop you to battery status. And then you have to click up here for electricity use.
This is a cleaner.
Yeah, and then I have separate climate.
Yep.
Like, I have dedicated hardware buttons for climate, which It does, but it has like tiny little displays saying your temperature on each side.
Yep.
I have a dedicated shifter thing here. So reverse, drive, park, and then off. It flips over. And that color actually will match your drive mode. You can set it to match your drive mode at least. So you can see blue, now it's red. Yep. Because I put it in sport. One thing I miss out of IONIQ 5 was the much better ambient lighting. Okay. And that's probably just because I had a white interior. Yeah. So it played a lot nicer.
So where are the lights in this one?
So it's got some right in here. It's like you can kind of see it a little bit on the knob there, but it's realistically it's not much. It has to be basically pitch black out to see it.
Right. But you've got the offset, even though it is dark, you've got that Alcantara, which is really nice finish.
Yes.
Stitching that matches the striking. What color is it officially?
Sao Paulo lime.
All right, that makes sense. It is exotic.
Other thing that you get in this that you don't in IONIQ 5, USB-C.
Yeah.
You get two.
A modern connector.
Yeah, 2 front USB-C. I use it to do CarPlay on this one, and then I charge my Apple Watch on this one. I don't actually need to carry a key or have my phone on me. The car itself has Face ID on the outside to unlock the car, and then has a fingerprint sensor right here. So I can authenticate. Well? It has. I've used it maybe 3 or 4 times. Okay. The times that I've forgotten my phone at home.
When you need it.
Other than that, I mean, it's definitely a bit, at least to me, it feels a little cozier in here than in IONIQ 5. And
I still think the legroom is great back there, though, personally. Like, it looks good to me.
Okay. I think the big thing that plays with me is, again, not being a light interior. Yeah. So it looks a lot smaller.
Right. Yeah. It's the general feel of it.
Yeah.
But is this a vision roof? I mean, it's pretty, it's not quite as large, but it's still, again,
so it is a full panoramic roof. It's not quite as nice as the one you get in the GV70, which half of it opens and stuff like that. But
and it's got the shade, it's got...
Now, actually, the shade's kind of interesting on this. It's a split shade.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, IONIQ 5 is just one shade?
No, it's a split as well, but I think this is a nicer material. Okay. This feels a little more, not Alcantara, maybe it is Alcantara, but it's definitely nice.
It's the same suede, Alcantara, whatever.
Yeah, everything's a little bit kind of softer and nicer feel. So that's it for our look at the Genesis GV60 and a quick comparison with the Hyundai IONIQ 5. Obviously they're not exactly comparable, you're only really meeting at the right upper end of the IONIQ 5's price point, and the Genesis GV60 is more in that different luxury premium buyer category. But we do see some circumstances where someone might look at the top of the IONIQ 5's trim and decide that a GV60 is worth that little extra $5,000 to $10,000. So what do you think? Would you upgrade from an IONIQ 5 to the GV60? Is the extra performance with the boost button, the extra horsepower and the higher top speed enough to justify that price tag? Or is the fact that the IONIQ 5 and the EV6 are on that EGMP platform giving you all the benefits of the charging curve and the 18-minute 10 to 80% time enough to say you'd be in an IONIQ 5 or an EV6? Let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel and like this kind of comparison content, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.